a pure heart? Is your heart pure? Are your motives pure? Do you walk in deceit? Do you walk in pureness of whole, wanting the best for others, not being conniving? But guess what? We're going to talk about a pure heart today. Do you believe that you have a pure heart? I want you to take a moment right now and think about it. Do you really have a pure heart? And are you on a day-to-day basis making sure that thought is pure, it's honorable, and it wants the right thing? It's not selfish and it's not deceitful. Just something to think about. Because that's only the pure in heart shall see God. That's the topic for the day, a pure heart. Because remember, only the pure in heart shall see God. That's according to his word. So we got to start thinking about things because we don't know when God is going to call us home. Or we don't know when he's going to come back. So at this state of the game, we need to start really thinking about the major things of life that is going to matter when God comes to get us, or else he comes here for us. So I want you all to really take the time today to ponder that. Ponder our thoughts. Are your thoughts holy? Are your thoughts innocent? Are your thoughts pure? These are the things that I need you to ask yourself every single time that you get ready to make a decision. Because that's what's going to be important. Your motive is what's going to be important. Because remember, God knows our hearts. He knows what's in man. That's why he said, do not trust man. Put no trust in man. Because he knows our hearts. That's why on a day-to-day basis, we have to basically get into his word. We have to meditate on that word because that is the only way our hearts will ever change. Your heart can't change without the word of God. Your heart can't change without meditating and concentrating on your thoughts, making sure that they're aligning with his words, making sure that they're not being deceptive. Because anytime that you think that you're being deceptive, you're really not. Ain't nobody fooling you but the devil. Because at the end of the day, you're going to reap what you sow. And that's the thing that we're going to have to always recognize and always understand, that in this life, our peace lies in us being authentic and genuine and real with ourselves. If you think that you're going to be able to live a peaceful life and not do the work of making sure that your thoughts and your heart line up with God's will, you're fooling yourself. So I need you all to ponder on that. I need you all to understand that. When somebody does something to you, are you trying to repay back evil? Or are you going to step back and say, you know what? Let me realize that I have to, number one, be different. Because that's where my peace lies. Because I already know that I got to be challenged. Things got to teach me certain life lessons. So at the end of the day, let me sit back. Let me not always respond. Or let me always go negative. Or let me not always go bitter. Let me make sure that I take that time to really evaluate that thought. Because see, when we think, our thought goes to our hearts. Think about it. When you think about something, that thought going to go to your heart. Because see, then when you think of it, you're going to get a visualization of it. A visualization of it. And then whether that visualization is a good thought or a negative thought, it's still going to impact your heart. And that's why it's so important that when we think things, let's make sure that we're not giving it that total imagination where you getting a whole film in your head, you visualizing how you think this thing is operating, and then now you get your blood pressure up, and you getting upset, and then now you're dealing with a certain perception because you feeling like what you're saying is real or what you imagine in your mind is real, and it might not even be that way. And so that's why it's so important for us to get into the word and operate in the word, so that guess what? When things come up against us, because they are, he said in this world, we're going to have our tribulations. We're going to have tribulation, but be of good cheer. He's already overcome the world. These things that we know. So it's about making sure our heart lines up with his word. Making sure our heart lines up with his will and his ways. Because at the end of the day, we should have negative hearts. And what I'm saying is, when we learn truth, that's why it's so important for us to learn truth. Because when we don't know truth, we're going to operate according to our Adamic nature. We're going to operate against the will of God. against the word of God. That's what we're going to do. We can't help it because that's how we were born. We were born in sin. That's why we have to that's why we have to be reborn all over again. But like I said, because I don't want to hold long, are you operating with a pure heart? Come on. Are your heart, is your heart pure? Do you walk in love when somebody does something to you? Or do you, somebody say something negative about somebody, are you going along with the program? We have to be different. We have to walk in love. We have to walk in kindness. In order for us to do that, we got to grow. That's how you live heaven on earth. You learn how to live the life. You learn to do things from a totally different way of doing it. It's all about getting that information. I always say knowledge is powerful. We have to go back and get more information. We have to get new information. Because God said do it one way. Satan said do it another way. One way going to bring you peace and freedom. The other one going to keep you locked up and in pain. That's why it's so important to watch our hearts. Watch our motives. Make sure your motives are pure. Make sure you're operating with a heart of love and kindness and forgiveness. Don't let deception and deceit be in your heart because you can't see God that way. You can't get his truth and you can't get his wisdom. So we have to ask ourselves, is that thought pure? Is that thought honest? Is that thought kind? And if it's not, cast that thing down every single time. And you got to practice it. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort. We have to practice this every single day. But make a conscious decision that you're going to decide that I'm going to start watching my thoughts seriously. And I'm going to make sure that those thoughts line up with the word of God. I'm going to make sure those thoughts are pure and have the right intent and the right motive. Because if I don't, guess what? I'm not growing and nobody around me going to be able to grow. Because guess what? I don't have that growth to give them. I can only give them what I have. All right, y'all. I really hope that you all got this. We are to be an example. In order for us to be an example, we have to get information. If we don't get any information that is different from what we already have, we stay the same. And everybody we deal with, guess what? They stay the same. Because birds of a feather, they flock together. If you're trying to live a godly life, godly people are going to be the only ones that you're going to really have anything in common with. Ungodly people are going to deal with ungodly people. But one thing about it, we need to be the light. They need to see something in us that is so different that they want, guess what? And that's what God wants them to. They want that light too. All right, one more time. Think positive thoughts. Cast down those thoughts that don't line with his word. Because your heart is based on your thoughts. What you think of going to create either a negative feeling in your heart or a positive feeling in your heart. It's just like light and it's just like darkness. It's about you choosing, you making a choice on a day-to-day basis, deciding how you're going to live that day. You're going to live that day in positive or you're going to live that day in negative. It just depends on how you are perceiving the situations and the circumstances that you are going through. Remember, everything that you encounter is meant for your good. None of it. I don't care what it is. All of it serves God's purpose for your life. Cast them negative thoughts down, and y'all be blessed.